course, I've been on Kevin Crimmins' podcast more than once. Kev, move to your left, will ya? You can see what and hear what happens in this studio on StreamYard, video and audio. If you'll just go to, my Facebook page, Michael Devine, or Alpha Media 4 Dutch Facebook page, you will see El Deuterino in all his glory.
Nobody needs to see that.
Oh, man, come on. Yeah, they absolutely do.
I was just walking in, and I signed your wall out there.
Oh, did you sign?
I signed it between Nevin and Nikki Conrad. I signed it right between them. Put a little arrow and a heart
Now
between
Nikki alone,
between me and Nikki. Oh no, it was just showing the love, man.
You're
Showing the love.
You know, Kathy might be the only one that wants you to show me love.
I don't know about
you
that.
You could be kind of an intimidating.
I don't
dude.
think she wants.
You're 6 feet, what, 2 or and
6'1" maybe.
Okay, right in there. But you're this big guy, kind of looks like more like a biker than a businessman, even though I know you're really a business guy.
I'm just an old, worn out guy.
No, you got the eyes, Kevin. You totally have the eyes. You know what I'm talking about? Oh yeah, you do.
I don't know about that.
You have those eyes.
Quit hitting on me, Mike. We do this every time. You hit on me.
Glow in the dark. Now I don't know that personally, but
but you'd like to.
No, really, I wouldn't. No. See, Kevin goes down the gay road pretty fast.
Hey,
I don't know.
What? Nothing wrong with that.
You are totally not gay, so straighten up.
Straight up.
You're totally not gay. No. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, hot news flash. Kevin Crimmins is not gay, even though he may think he is.
I love the gays. Nothing wrong with that.
I know. Oh, what are you going to be? What is that? Non-binary now? Go by the.
No. I can't wrap my head around all that business.
I can't either. You have to be a Democrat to understand that stuff.
Well, I don't know. There's a lot of going on with that right now, isn't there?
Well, there is, because the Democrats hosed Iowa, because they're incompetent and want to run the government, but they can't run their own caucus. So now it looks like Nevada or some other state will get first in the nation. And
you think so?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I think they've tried that in the past and they've not been successful.
No. This is a different age. This is a different time.
That's true.
Nevada and other people want to get rid of the caucus system altogether, and let the states decide. And they probably have a right to do that. But the real deal is back in.
They screwed it up,
totally
didn't they?
Screwed it
Holy.
up. So let us run the government.
That was embarrassing.
Listen to us. We are your moral and intellectual superior, but we can't run our own caucus.
Right? That was embarrassing.
That was embarrassing for them, and it was embarrassing for me as well.
The whole state.
Yeah, the whole state, and they just.
But the governor's been on Fox a couple times here lately.
Yeah,
she's made it to the big stage.
Well, she might be. She's one of the governors. Iowa's kind of is contemplating what bill is that? It's not the trans bill, because
that didn't make it. That didn't make it this year.
That didn't, because of some of your Republican friends over there, and that's just not right. That's just wrong as hell.
What is wrong?
That we can't prevent biological males from entering girls' schools.
Right. I couldn't agree more.
Apparently it's discriminatory now to see the obvious. Hi, this is science. This is nature. This can't be avoided, but I'm just not going to discriminate. What the hell kind of thing is that?
Well, you know what, Mike? In that, there's just some things that disqualify you from doing other things in life, things that you'd like to do.
Like?
Well, participate in a professional sport or say the Olympics.
Yeah, well, I demand to be Michael Jordan. Right?
Yeah, but
now.
I mean, if you've been drugged, if you've been on performance enhancement drugs.
Kevin, I've been a good part of my life drugged, right?
Well, yeah, but not those kind of drugs, or you'd look better, dude.
Probably so.
But you know what I mean? There's just things that prevent you from, if you're a felon, you can't vote in a lot of states.
I got confused. Kevin was acting like I didn't know about being drugged.
I know you know about that. Personal experience.
What do we always say? If you remember the 70s, you probably weren't there.
Or the 80s, for that matter. there has to be some residual
But we're
effect.
all straight, and we're the moral authorities.
Yeah, right.
We are your moral and intellectual superiors.
That's-
El Deuterino here and the Doctor of Truth. So-
you know what I'm saying, though?
Yeah, I do.
I mean, so I have no problem with people transitioning, but you can't be a guy and transition to a woman, but you're still a man.
I don't.
Well, even at that, you're not even making the full commitment because they're bringing it down to high school level, where they are literally you're still a guy.
Biological.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dose all the hormones you want to dose. It ain't going to make you a complete woman.
Well, it doesn't make you one at all. I mean, DNA is that you're a male, and but you know what? I'll refer to a trans woman as she. I don't have any problem with that.
Yeah,
But that doesn't change this. That doesn't change the fact.
That's not what we're talking
No,
about.
that doesn't change the fact.
If people want to be trans or whatever, go ahead. I think it's pretty weird. But it's a free country and you can be trans. What you can't do is enter women's sports and say that you're. Do you remember Rachel
it's
Dolezal?
just not. Oh, do I ever?
Yeah, don't you?
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, you can't be a black person if you're white.
Well, she says she can. She says can't. That was actually her argument. Can't I self-identify? She kept saying, "Can't I?"
Well, sure, you
self-identify?
can. You can, but it doesn't
but
change.
You're a white woman from
Yeah.
Montana. for
Yeah,
God's sake.
yeah, for sure.
I can say I'm Michael Jordan. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
give me a basketball,
Exactly.
and I
Yeah,
might bounce it off my head.
That's what I mean. Just because you want something doesn't mean you get it.
That's right.
You know.
Right. Well,
so
see, in the nihilistic, ultra narcissistic way of the Democratic Party, in 2021, yes, you can. All you have to
hey,
do
you
is
know what
think.
my question about that is?
What?
Is what kind of pride, what gratification do you get out of competing against females when you're a male?
Because you can beat them.
Oh, would that make you feel better?
Well, I guess if you took hormones and you're growing hairy boobs and all this stuff, yeah, I guess it does because you think you're a woman and that's all that really counts. An actual woman's feelings
I don't
actually, come on, man.
I don't know.
And here's the standard answer, and I've heard it several times from several states. Well, has there ever been, and it's the usual snobbery, has there ever been, how many complaints have there really been about trans athletes? Well, not that many, but there have been some. And the thing is, if you
that's because it's such a small amount.
What?
There's such a small amount of them competing.
I don't think that's the point either, Kevin. You're right, but
well,
but if you make a law
to the number
outlawing individual identity itself, which is what we're doing, which some liberals and Republican lights want us to do, if you make a law outlawing identity, gender identity given to you at birth, the floodgates are open. You're going to see women losing out in shot put and all the strength exercises. I've seen some trans athletes on YouTube wrestling women in high school competition or college competition. It's grotesque to look at.
I guess Dana White has a video out where
but we have political figures now, dude, that say yes, we must move forward because I'm not going to.
Well, I mean, I understand it's a complex issue to deal with.
What is complex about preventing biological males from participating in sports? Nobody said that there should be discrimination per se. In other words, if you want to live somewhere, you should be able to live there. If you want to get a job somewhere, I suppose that's okay with some exceptions. But really, if you want to be transgender, dude, be transgender. I wasn't speaking of you specifically, by the way, but
kick it around.
Be transgender. It's like saying, well, Dan Gable was a 135-pound wrestler, and he was the greatest at his weight. So we're going to have him wrestle Chris Taylor, who was a former ISU wrestler who was 6'6" and weighed over 300 or 400 pounds. Is that a fair contest? Hell no, it wasn't.
Maybe with Gable. Maybe with Dan Gable.
Maybe
with Dan Gable. He was greatest
5.
of all time, in my opinion.
He could have been. I don't know. But we don't.
That's what I mean by I think there are
this
things that you do that disqualify you from participating in things in life.
Right, because
and that should be one of them. I mean, yes, you have every right to transition if that's what you want and who you are. but that disqualifies you. You don't get to participate in sports against girls because biologically you have such an advantage. Now, when you outlaw doping in sports because it's an unfair advantage, how can you balance that?
Because it's a case of white middle class guilt. All you have to do is say discrimination. All you have to
That's
do is
a bunch of bull, though. You know what? Only weak
liberals is where this is.
Only weak people fall for that.
Yes.
You know, I refuse to. I don't care. People can call me anything they want to. They can call me any phobia. They can call me racist. They can call me whatever they want. I could care less.
Right.
You know, it doesn't bother me. I whatever. You know, does that mean I am? No, of course not. You know, so labels. You know, people are so afraid. But I see a trend the other way now.
What?
Don't you? I think that
that
people are fighting back against it because they're tired. They got a good taste of being told by the government what they could do and what they couldn't do over the last year and a half. And
I'm really, I hope so. I've been sick of it for quite a while.
Oh, so
patronizing nonsense that comes out of government, big mama government. I don't need it. I didn't need big daddy government. I don't need the Pope. I don't need the kings. I don't need any of those things.
No,
this is not what the country is about.
No, actually, totally not.
We have to watch it with transgender people, or they'll blow their head off. I mean, did you hear what I just said? How ridiculous is that? You know, do as I say, or I'll shoot myself.
Well,
what the hell?
Yeah, you can't make light of. I mean, I know you're not making light of suicide.
No, of course.
But it could. People are going to take what you said and say that that's what you're saying, which is crazy.
People do that with me all the time. Hell,
I know. That's specifically you.
You know how many petitions there have been to get me fired?
At least a couple that I know.
Oh yeah, there have been a few.
The last one I actually read, and that was the weirdest thing I've ever written, ever read. But
change.org, yeah, that came out of the south end of town there. That was truly bizarre. You know, and. I don't know. That was too weird. You know,
well,
a lot of these petitions are too weird. And then recently I took my own name off the KVFD Facebook page. Somehow in my computer at home, it was posting snarky remarks I made
on your personal page.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a troll. There's no doubt. And it was under the KVFD logo, so that had to be taken care of. But it was all of a sudden it was a big deal out there in liberal land, you know. Oh my God, he's using the station to attack us.
Well, yeah, and you know what? I can see where people would be upset if you're using your platform.
It was an accident.
You know, a public platform, which you have too.
Dude, do I have a public platform here? Am I giving you my personal opinion? I sure am.
Right, exactly. But I see where people mix that up. They're not the smartest people, but you know. But I understand where they can mix it up, but it still shouldn't stop you from stating your opinion, which it hasn't, which I'm happy about, which is probably why I'm sitting here right now, because I wouldn't be if you were one of those wishy-washy people. But
I want to give full credit to Alpha Media. First of all, there's no other town this size in the state of Iowa that has a talk show like this.
No,
none. As a matter of fact, since Jan Michelson left WHO, there's really not as good a talk show in the state as you're going to find here in Fort Dodge. Now that's odd, isn't it?
Well, and
the truth,
and the company sticks with you and stands behind you, which is good.
It's not always easy. Jed Burns, the marketing
I'm sure,
got to be cleaning up after the elephants all the time. I don't like to put him in that position, but that's part of the gig. Excuse me.
Do you need some CPR there?
No. But feel free to talk when I'm having
when you're
cover for me, Kevin.
I'm not as good at this as you are. I kind of fumble my way through.
You're getting pretty good.
So anyway, did you have a good weekend?
Hey, Memorial Day, being a veteran myself, it's a solemn weekend for myself. That's not saying I didn't enjoy myself. I had backyard cookouts and went places and enjoyed the great weather and
without a mask, without social distancing,
without any of that. No, I didn't. I had a mask with me in case somebody said so. I don't want to walk on someone's property and have them say, where's your mask? And I'll say, if I do, I'll say, okay, I got it in my pocket. But, I wouldn't walk into your house, and which I have, of course. I wouldn't walk into your house and disobey your rules. So I'm not going to do that with a business.
Well, no, I mean, that's just respect. I absolutely. But I think I would opt to just say, okay, well, hey, enjoy the day. I'm going to take off.
You're going to do what now?
I think if it was me, I would just say, if I was going to a get together and somebody confronted me about a mask, I'd just say, hey, enjoy the day. I'm going to take off.
Yeah. What else would you do?
Because I'm not going to put a mask on to make you feel better.
No.
Hey, I've had COVID. I've quarantined twice through that, which really sucks.
It really
does.
And
I've been fully vaccinated. I'm not wearing a mask for anyone. Just like I don't change for, I won't back off from my opinion for anyone.
Right.
I'm not going to do that. I respect it, and I'm not going to disrespect you or your property or your guests, but
right.
I'm not going to wear a mask. So, have fun and see you around.
I know you referred to a former president as some female genitalia several years ago on this very radio.
Can I say that?
No, you cannot say it.
I think I can.
No.
I don't think that's wrong. I think
Greg Wells is gone.
Yeah, but he told me I could.
Yeah, well, if I would have said that, Wells would have been up here in a big huff. But it was you. Oh yeah.
Well,
Greg was a kind of a different person.
I like Greg so much. I think
really?
and I think he's hilarious. I read his stuff, and I think he's hilarious.
I'd like to find him and beat the living hell out of him.
Would you? Why?
Oh, because he was just a jerk, as far as I was concerned.
You really? Yeah, really. I didn't. I guess
I
didn't realize that.
Not KVFDs or Alpha Media.
Now that question begs, or that begs the question: could you do it if you saw him? Because it'd be really embarrassing if he whipped your ass.
There would be no chance of that happening, dude.
You know what? I
there
do
would be
like
no
him.
chance in the world that would happen.
Now,
Trust
do you
me.
form that? Is that
I'm an
because
old
it
guy
was
now, and I got a
management or
sword.
what?
What's that?
Does that stem from him being management and having to put limitations on you or whatever, or come down on you once in a
I don't
while?
want to get into this because he is a private citizen.
Yeah,
Public
no, this isn't the place, but I like him. I just he was a good guy.
I just did not see eye to eye.
I thought he was good at his job too, which you probably don't agree with.
Well, he left for some reason. I don't know what reason it was. It wasn't. I don't know what reason he left for, but he did leave, and I don't think he's done as well since he has left. But maybe he has. I don't know, Kev. He's been gone quite a long time.
Oh yeah,
I've had two general managers since him.
Have you really?
Well, Steve Gosweiler. Didn't you know Steve?
No, I really don't know anyone else.
And Jed Burns has been here for a while.
He's a station manager.
Yeah, he's a station manager.
I don't know him
he's
either.
He's a solid radio guy.
Yeah,
Jed's a solid radio guy. Wells was, for that matter.
Yeah, well, yeah, but the thing about him is that he did well in the public. I thought he was good at schmoozing, and
he did that,
and that's a big part of the game.
Well, that is a big part of the game, huge, and that was his strength. I mean, he got to be friends with Matt Bemrick just right away, and plowed over the growth lines. He identified people in the community that were the kind of movers and shakers,
right,
and
right.
the economic drivers,
which is where he needed to position himself.
And he made them his friends.
Yeah,
and he's not.
Which I think both of those guys are good guys. I like both of them. Matt and I are like polar opposites on the political field, but I like him though.
Yeah,
and I think
Bemrick's
he's done a really good job for Fort Dodge.
I
give him nothing but respect for the
Bemrick
job
and the Bemrick family are straight up. Straight up dudes. Kind of like that Crimmins family.
Some of them anyway.
There
might be a black sheep in the bunch, but
I did talk to you. I was going to say
that. But they still love me. So what can I say? I'm bringing a little color to the world.
Well, the last I knew, you weren't on food stamps. You weren't on public assistance.
You know what? I've never even. Funny you'd say that, but I've never drawn a penny of
subsistence.
Well, I've never drawn no, obviously not, because I've never drawn a dime's worth of unemployment in my life,
right?
40 some years in my career, and I've never drawn a penny of work comp, in 40 some years, you know, but I also work for my dad's company.
Yeah.
So, you know, he don't
There's
you
a-
go to the
there's-
doctor,
You
you
know,
know,
when you went to apply for the job, "Hi, I'm your son" appeared on the resume. That must have carried some weight.
well, you know what? I'll tell you what, that job security did.
That-
I mean,
job
that was a lot, no doubt about it, because I would have fired me a number of times.
See, that it complicates it from your dad's point of view. Well, I should fire that sucker, but he's my kid. What do I do?
Oh, I know. Trust me, I know. And the older I get, the more I appreciate the position or understand the position I put him in, I guess you'd say.
Well, you know, and I think of that.
years from now.
Yeah. Well, there was a book in the 90s called The Debt by Randall Robinson, a black guy. I think his name was Randall Robinson. Now I'm going to have to look it up. But yeah, that was his whole thing. The debt meant that white people had a debt to black people. And there should be reparations for 200 years because apparently you and I caused the spiritual death.
Oh,
of black people.
you're talking about making payments for annually for 200 years, next couple hundred years.
Yeah.
I don't know. No, I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening because I don't think black people are the majority of them are in favor of that.
Hey, come on, man. Come on.
I don't think so. I give the black community, black American community, a lot more credit than people do.
Here it is. I was right. Randall Robinson, The Debt, What America Owes to Blacks. And in the book, and this came out, several years ago, when Bill Clinton was still in the White House, Bill was a total feminist.
Well, he liked I don't know. He liked females. I don't know.
Sure
I
did.
don't know how much of a
He liked
feminist
the
he
hell
was.
out of him.
Yeah.
Anyway, and I would recommend that. It's an older book. You can get it for $3.99 online, so it's not that much. But a lot of the ideas of reparations predated Randall Robinson's book, by the way. But his book really pushed it into the Democratic Party consensus because the Democratic Party has to have black people voting for them en masse. African Americans,
but that's not happening.
Wait. Oh, yes, it is.
I don't think so.
See, it's still.
I think it's still happening in masses, but it's falling off.
African Americans are the only ethnic group, or only group really, to vote as a bloc, and they vote for the Democratic Party. Now, the Democratic Party cannot win a national election without black people. If you take that vote away from them or have it, they lose a lot of southern states. They lose a lot,
but they're losing.
And
but
then they'll lose a lot.
Mike, Trump got raised his black vote count, his black support, his Hispanic support. No, I don't. I don't agree because I think eventually, you know when this is going to change, and you see this. I think we're actually living in a pretty historic time because right now the black community has the loudest voice in America. They have the biggest platform, the loudest voice in America. Just all you have to do is turn on your television to see that. And that's okay. But there's no way that the Democrats are going to let them stay there. Yeah, there's no way that they're going to let them keep that megaphone because they've used them throughout history. And blacks are figuring it out, Yeah, well, I think they really are. And, all they have to do is look back. What Democratic president, and going through my lifetime, has helped them more than Trump.
Well, I don't really know the specifics of what you mean by Trump helped.
Because he first of all he raised their employment numbers by historic numbers.
Well, how much
he raised family income across the board for the first time in over a decade, like 14 years, something like that. I mean, that in itself helps. But Obama, they have a fund. I can't remember off the top of my head the name of it, but the government has a fund that they use to help support minority women that want to open businesses. Obama in 8 years gave 20 some of those grants out. Trump in 4 years gave over 300. Okay, who was more help? Who did more? I think Trump. It'd be really hard. They got so brainwashed. The not just the black community, the liberal community or the Democrat bloc, they got so brainwashed. That we're the only ones that care about you.
Right.
But they didn't pay attention to who was actually caring about them. And I think they're starting to pay attention now. And there's some really sharp black national leaders out there, and Tim Scott being one of them. Candace Owens is awesome. She's about the only person that will tell the truth.
Right.
And a lot of others.
But we still have Stacey Abrams down in Georgia, who has yet to concede. Come on. Who has yet to concede the Georgia governor's race? It's been over for how long? She won't concede.
I think the only thing Stacey Abrams in my opinion, it would be good for is advertising across the back of her sweatpants, because it'd be a big sign. Otherwise, I have no love for her. I think she's awful. I think that she's awful. I think she's a traitor to the black race.
You think so?
I think so.
Why do you think she's that's a hell of a thing to say for an old white man, you know?
Well, you know what? I've paid attention for a long time. I actually am one of the people that really actually care about the black community.
Right.
To the point where I want to see them do better as a whole. But I also think that they have to step up, and do their part as well, where reparations isn't doing their part.
Right.
That would just be, I think it would be terrible optics for them. I think it would hurt them. And besides that, their population is shrinking.
We have Governor Reynolds, to turn it back to the state of Iowa here, and even Fort Dodge. Governor Reynolds still hasn't signed that bill that would prevent the teaching of critical race theory in school. Yeah.
Hasn't she?
No, she still hasn't done it. She's getting a lot of heat from some of her major contributors, who usually are packing plant operators. Those guys go big time for cheap labor, And they're afraid that some of their south of the border people will be offended, I suppose. I don't know. But
why would that be?
Because they plan to. Meatpacking plants, business in general. If it weren't for overwhelming support from ag business, we wouldn't have an illegal immigration problem in the state of Iowa. It would go away right away. If all businesses, like all these chicken houses up here in the Badger Vincent area, all of a sudden say, hey, we want to document our workers, we want to use E-Verify, they'd lose half their labor force, because they pay those poor people nothing to work in chicken dung up to their ankles. And it's, it's not cool.
Well, I can't really speak to that because I'm not exposed to that. I have no idea what they pay their people. I know that they have to be competitive.
Well, that's the deal with labor. It's basic economics. If you increase the supply of something, labor, the demand or wages goes down. That's why Iowa has so much poverty in it, frankly. It's because of the recruitment. And over many, many years now. I mean, Iowa Beef, IBP over in Storm Lake was on the front page of Time magazine back in the 1980s, telling us about the pipeline between a little town in Mexico all the way up to Storm Lake, Iowa. And I've been on the air for years saying all we have to do is go to IBP, take a couple of suits out of their office and throw them in jail for immigration violations. Bang. Illegal immigration. It's over. And we can do that with the chicken people.
But we can't. But we have to fix our immigration system, because we can't survive without them in the labor market. And not saying that.
Who says?
Not saying that.
That's a broad statement. What are you talking about?
I just think I think it's true. Hey, just look at their work ethic. The Mexican people. Right? No. But
this town was built on working people.
Of course it was.
Yeah.
And
white transfer and storage benefited greatly from white people working there.
Mostly family members.
I knew
we're the ones that work Saturdays and Sundays and didn't get paid. No, I agree with you. That's true. But they also shot themselves in the foot. The labor market here, because they got so strong unionization. But
you hated unions.
I didn't hate unions.
You didn't like them. You don't approve.
Well, I don't think that. Thing is I'm not going to let anybody tell me how to run my business.
You hate unions.
As long as I do it in legally and within the regulations,
Yeah.
Then I'm not going to let an outside organization like a union tell me how to run my business.
I don't think you should.
No.
I don't think you should. People should have a choice of where they work and who they hire, both.
Absolutely. And there's advantage. Hey, I just happen to know some things about some unions, and I think I've told you on the side, and we won't talk about it here, but
no, it's okay. There's been a union corruption problem since there was unions in this country.
As soon as money started pouring in, corruption started.
That's what happened to Black Lives Matter. Patrice Cullors was a Cullors was a leader in the Black Lives Matter movement. not too long ago, she was a sociologist. Now, I don't know what sociologists make, but I don't think it's enough to buy a $3.45 million house, as Patrice Cullors recently.
My son has a degree in sociology, one in psychology and sociology as a double major. And no, that's one of those toilet paper degrees, you know?
Like French literature.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, at least he enjoyed it. He's running a tattoo place.
He runs, actually, he's self-employed. He's an entrepreneur. He has a couple or three different businesses.
Are they all tattoo businesses?
No, none of them are.
Is this Ted?
No, this is Jason, my oldest son.
Oh.
Lives down in Ames, him and his family. Owns a couple bars. He's owned several bars and restaurants throughout, over the years. But
Some Crimmins guy owns a bar. I'm shocked.
Yeah.
Should we tell the story how we first met again?
No, I think everybody's probably
I think
probably a number of times.
Jack Daniels drinking contest.
That was
that was not good.
Not one of my best moments.
Hey, it happens.
I ended up out in my yard wrestling around my Doberman in small town Moreland, and
you were
sleeping
on the front yard.
Made quite the impression on my neighbors. But you know what? It never gave me any trouble, other than when I drained the water tower. But then
would be a problem.
I had to appear in front of the city council that time.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for one older lady there that cut me some slack because I was just a punk kid, 19 years old, and she knew that I didn't mean that. But
yeah, well, there's nothing here, and maybe you've experienced this. There's nothing worse than facing a magistrate at 7:00 in the morning when you've been when you're hungover and spent the night in jail.
I've never done.
It's a bummer.
Never done it.
Never got thrown in the can.
I've been in jail. I've been in jail.
Or a couple of Fort Dodge's finest.
Not in Fort Dodge though. In Kansas City one time.
You got
arrested at a Chiefs game. So I ended up in 3 different clinks. Yeah, I ended up in 3 clinks. They actually have a jail cell in Arrowhead Stadium.
Well, I believe they do.
And they took us from that down to some precinct jail somewhere. And then they took us down to the community clink downtown. And
the community clink.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, we were drunk and didn't want to take bail. I mean, we're having blah blah blah. And by the time we got in there, and they threw us in the general pop. Yeah, we decided this time we needed to get out of there. Yeah.
They didn't do that with me. And by the way, Kevin Crimmins and I are having conversations on degeneracy. So let's keep it.
And if there's one thing that we actually know about, it would be that.
Yeah, it certainly would. I was arrested for drunk driving because I'd been in Tijuana, Mexico all day. And I came across the border and got arrested for drunk driving.
No, this would have been like what? 70s?
1971.
When it was a $20 fine?
No, it was $300 even then.
Oh, in California it was, yeah.
California. Anyway, the point being is they took me down to the San Diego County Jail and threw me in this big drunk tank. And I was the only one in there that spoke English, you know what I mean? And everybody was trying to fight.
No hablo español.
Yeah. And I know habla, and these guys were stealing each other's shoes and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah, somewhere you don't want to find yourself.
Here I was, a punk 20-year-old kid hanging on the bars looking out. Can I come out? No. I'm not nearly as tough as I thought I was.
That's too funny. When I
had a big
remember
attitude with a cop out in the street. Oh, you're talking.
Oh yeah.
Now, 10 minutes into that experience, can you let me out, please, officer, please? I want my mommy.
Well, I was sitting clear up the top of Arrowhead, like almost the top row. And it was my little brother that started the trouble. I was an innocent bystander, but the cops came up and I think they were just going to toss me out of the game and wouldn't have arrested me. But I ended up, when they come up, I says, yeah, go ahead and try to get me down those stairs because I'm going to take a fall, take you with me, and then I'm going to sue you. So they just sat down and said, well, we haven't seen a game for a while. We got all the time in the world. They weren't going to wrestle me down the stairs, but they weren't going to go away either. So my dad come up and finally talked me into going along.
That's the bummer, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, I was, I've told this, I think everybody's heard my drunk degeneracy stories on the air. I was over in Waterloo, was asked to enter a jail cell for drunkenness. But I had to come up with $105. This was in 1970, and I was
That's a lot of money back then
Oh, huge!
for a young guy.
I made about $105 a week.
Yeah, you're probably working for $2, $3, $4 an hour.
I don't know, but it was 105, and that's about what I was making for 40, 50 hours. Anyway, said, well, if you come up with 105, we'll let you go. So I called my dad and I said, Dad, I'm here in the Blackhawk County Jail in Waterloo, and if I don't have $105, they're going to throw me in jail. And he said, well, I think I can probably get it for you, son. What'd you do? I said, well, drunk and disorderly. And he said, oh, son, I was young once. What the heck? Not a problem. But then he asked me, he said, boy, that still seems a lot of money for somebody like you, just for being drunk in Waterloo. And I said, well, I also resisted arrest and punched a police officer. And he said, and there was this click, just the loudest noise I'd ever heard in my life. Click, and
denied.
I just denied, dude.
Oh man,
so
that makes you feel all alone, doesn't it?
So I spent the night in the clink, and the jailers were just merciless. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get out.
Well, you're lucky you didn't get the big phone book and the rubber hose.
They did not in those days. They didn't mess around.
No, they didn't.
They didn't mess around.
They didn't think anything of giving you a beating and.
Not one single bit.
They'll give you a beating and throw a resisting arrest charge on you just for that.
All right. Kevin Crimmins has been here. We might, you want to stay or not?
This is Dave Grapeline. Be sure to listen to Into Tomorrow right here on the voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400 KVFD, Fort Dodge.
A deadly attack on a fire station. Lisa Brady, Fox News. Multiple media reports.
are of the Okev factor. That
KC Live. If you're gonna plug me right.
KC Live, is that what it
KC
is?
Live, yeah.
I like the Okev factor better.
I don't even
The
know where that
Okev
came from.
factor.
That's been a long time ago. Long time
The
ago.
Okev factor. Kevin Crimmins is who's here, and you just heard my little intro thing there about having 60 rounds of freedom. Just to establish our bona fides that we are, in fact, rednecks. You do own weapons, right? You have pistols
Oh
and
yeah.
shotguns.
Oh yeah.
You have
Yeah.
any AKs or
Yeah.
how many you have?
AR. Yeah. You got all the A ones.
got all
I
the
think
A
I've got an
ones.
AK. I got an AR. I've got an SKS,
Oh, you do?
which is basically the same as an AK.
Right.
You know. I think.
Do you take them
obviously-
out and shoot them at all or not?
Oh yeah.
Do you?
I've got a Browning Thompson or
What?
I've got a Thompson.
Machine gun, World War II
Yeah,
era?
no, mine's newer, but it's got the 100-round drum and then it's got a stick clip as well. But
Oh, that's so cool.
I know it is pretty
It's
cool.
so But do
It's-
we need it to hunt deer? No, for that we need nuclear weapons.
No,
So
but
back off.
who hunts deer? I only hunt perpetrators.
At the very least, if we're going to hunt deer, we need a helicopter and a 50 cal.
You know, that's the thing is
That's real sportsmanship there, boy.
yeah. It's not about you don't have guns. Well, a lot of people, hunters have guns to hunt, but otherwise, people have guns to exercise their right.
Yeah. That's
know,
why
that's-
I have guns. And I've
Well, they're a great investment as well. You know,
I think so. Yeah. You can't, it's hard to lose money on them. I guess I have a couple of times just to get rid of something that I never used, you know.
right?
But you know, that was part. You know, I started collecting a lot of guns when Obama first ran for president because I thought he was going to be an anti-gun president. He turned out not to be so much. He was anti-gun, but he's
Well,
not
if he could have had his way, he would.
he would have certainly, but he backed off. He had other priorities, and that's. But Biden's serious. Biden is.
Well, as serious as Biden can be, I don't think Biden has nothing to say about anything.
I saw a video roll on Facebook the other day of all the times that Joe Biden has been videotaped over the years, snuggling up to some poor woman. You know, he comes up behind her and he sticks his.
He's
nose in
so creepy.
her. Isn't he creepy?
Oh, he just got called out again just the other
that's
night or the other day.
You want to call Trump a creep? Okay, but he's not as creepy as Biden.
Well, Trump was
He was a
yeah.
pig.
Yeah, he was
I
a
mean,
pig. Yeah,
He
exactly.
was.
There you
Trump
go.
was a
Yeah,
pig.
yeah.
He is a pig.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I think once a pig, always one. But but Biden's just creepy,
Yeah.
you know. And yeah, that's their dream, but they're barking up a bad tree there.
Yeah.
They're not going to get. Would you give your guns up?
No, never.
You know, in Australia, they had a buyback program because they wanted to get the guns out of hands
Right.
of people, and they had one mass shooting, and they took everybody's
Banned it.
guns
Yeah,
away.
Yeah, they did.
You know, which is pretty bizarre to me, but you know, I spent a lot of time down there. I understand that's just how they are, but that's not America. You know,
That's a good point because a lot of noise is made about the Australia situation or Great Britain. Those are paternalist countries. As a matter of fact, Great Britain still has a queen for some reason. I mean, who needs a queen?
well,
But
and
they seem to.
she's still the queen in Australia too,
Yeah, she
and
is, that's
Canada
right.
as well. I mean,
You
but.
know, we don't have that sort of restriction on individual liberty. That's why we left old Europe and England and some of these countries who ban guns still very much represent the ideology of old Europe, the elite rule. I keep fighting against it, but you know, elite rule in the United States means that an educated elite will be at the very top of government and the pay scale, and everybody else will just shut up. And if we say something like
Maybe
transgender athletes, here, let me finish. If we say something like it's wrong to have transgender athletes competing in girls' sports, they'll dismiss us as just being crude bores. You know, who are these people? Who do they think they are?
Well, you know, another thing on the transgender athletes is that only goes one way. That's another problem I have with it.
What do you
Is
mean?
first of all, I would never think it was acceptable because it's unfair,
That's right.
plain and simple. But it
Again.
only that boat only goes one way.
Yeah.
You know, because you don't have transgender women you know,
Screaming.
transitioning to men wanting to compete because they can't.
No.
So that right there, I mean, that's the proof that it's unfair deal.
Yeah.
You know, but
It's
anyway,
patently unfair, patently and grotesquely unfair. And we couldn't get it done in the Iowa legislature this year.
right.
Unbelievable.
Going back to
I mean,
Australia.
if Republicans can't do any better than that, if they can't even get that bill, they shouldn't represent us.
Right.
Period. End of story.
Right. Well, it's sitting on. I think it's no. They didn't pass it through.
They didn't.
They had, I guess, other priorities. But obviously that's not a pressing issue in Iowa.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's why.
Not yet.
That's why it wasn't. But I don't know if it will become one or not. But I want to go back to Australia and
All right.
their situation. I had an in-depth. I've spent a lot of time down there, as you know.
Oh, yeah.
And I've had an in-depth conversation with a friend down there, and they were asking me why Americans they're so much more patriotic and they have so much more pride in their country than the Australians do. And I had to think about it for a minute, and I thought, I guess the only answer is to that is because we had to fight for ours.
Right. And Australia was
you didn't.
Well, Australia's an old prison colony. They
Yeah.
used to take mainly
That
Irish
was their founding.
Irish revolutionaries to Australia.
Yep. Yeah,
it was a horrible story. Everything involved.
Well, and they have atrocious human rights history down there. But look what's going on right now, because I hated the fact that I couldn't get on there. It's the first time in 10 years I wasn't down there for, over the winter months.
Because of COVID.
And because of COVID, their borders are locked.
Yeah.
Now, they don't have they've got very little vaccination going on. And their borders have been locked for over a year and a half now. And they're just trying to hide from it. And now 50 some cases right now, presently in Melbourne, and they're going to lock down Victoria. Lock down the state. They won't even let the Australians, you can't even travel around within the country.
Wow.
They lock their borders per state, South Australia, Victoria, Queensland, New South Wales,
Have they lightened up now or not?
No, they're going to put Melbourne into a hard lockdown over 56 cases. And that means some of those, they were in a hard lockdown where they couldn't leave their house. I mean, only for absolute essentials, and you had to be able to prove what you were doing. They locked their economy down for it was 30 or 60 days, something like that. I mean, complete lockdown where you're locked in your house. Now, for the life of me, I do not understand how their economy works down there. I can't figure it out.
It's a state-supported economy, I suppose.
Well, I mean, they just recycle money, I guess.
About the economic system in Australia.
Well, I mean, it's free market, but they have social medicine. They're an
That's
apathetic
solution.
They're a very apathetic population, and that just blows my mind.
They've been following orders their whole lives. There's just been no real discussion. I mean, there is, and they have free elections and all that sort of stuff, but there's little variation in the candidates. I mean, there really isn't.
There really isn't. But the strange thing about down there is Scott Morrison, ScoMo is their prime minister right now. He, if his party doesn't like what he's doing, they disagree with something that he wants, or he disagrees with something they want, they throw him out, and put somebody else in. So that guy that the people elected, that doesn't mean he's going to serve his term, because if his party doesn't agree with him, they throw him out. I've seen it happen a few times since I've been going down there. It's a weird situation. But looking down there, it's like, you know what? You were so afraid of COVID that you tried to protect your people by locking them away, and now they're way behind the rest of the world in vaccinations and everything. And I mean,
there's some
whether it's going to work or not, I don't know.
There's a little irony here, because I did get COVID and I was not afraid of it. I was not afraid of COVID. I used to talk with Steve Peterson from Farm Bureau. They talk social isolation. Christ, this is Iowa. We're all socially isolated.
To a degree.
But unless we're down the Top Hat. But anyway, you never been there, have you, Top Hat?
I've been there, and I don't know how long.
Decades.
Decades for me. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, I wasn't afraid of COVID. I mean, I masked because it's, it seemed to be the thing to do. I didn't want, if I had COVID, I didn't want to give it to anybody else. So I masked, but I didn't take it seriously. And I wound up with COVID and nearly died. And that I respect. And to tell you the truth, I've never come back from it. I've never been all the way back to full health.
Well, and it's hard to say. I mean, I noticed a little bit of brain fog. Actually, still, but whether that's a residual effect of my past or or
it's
if
all the above. It's your age.
The age, but yeah, COVID. I had it. I wouldn't say I had a severe case of it, although I did get pretty sick for a short while. Lost a loved one, so I mean, I understand it is. Yeah, it was something that you had to take serious, and but we were lied to from the get-go. And finally, that's and Trump was on the money, and it's coming out. Just yesterday, I was reading that the media is starting to admit, hey, the reason we didn't accept the Wuhan lab theory was because it was Trump's and the Republicans.
Yeah.
And what a disservice that was to the people. Huh?
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
It goes to show you how bad our media has gotten.
Yes, it does.
I think it's the only protection we have against our government. That and the 45 in the closet.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's really not an option. That'd be a final option that no one wants to think about. But the media, the media has to keep them honest. And when they're all in the same club, we're screwed because there's nobody to keep, or the honest journalism is gone.
Here's a big headline in the Des Moines Sunday Register on page 7. GOP limits teaching about race. No, nobody wants to limit teaching on race. We don't want you shaming and guilting innocent white children.
Well, absolutely. I mean,
that's
absolutely.
Yeah. You're not going to do that with us. You can get as smug and smirking and condemnation as you want, condemnatory or whatever the word is. You can say those things all day long. You're wrong. You're wrong, and we will not abide.
It's not going to happen. I mean, it's not going to happen, Mike.
No.
I mean, it's just not going to happen. You don't change your society to meet the smallest minority group or the smallest, demographic or smallest group in your country. You just don't. I mean, you don't do it. Right now, I just think if I was a black guy in America right now, I would be so pissed. Because I mean, they are being played for fools. They're being taken advantage of. And if you can't see that megaphone is going to be taken from them as soon as they get to where they meet the goals that they want to meet, they're going to take that away. And what's going to happen then?
If you don't like what you're hearing on this radio station right now, Joe Biden's in Tulsa talking about systematic racism in that Clint Eastwood voice he is with the shades. He's but he's talking about the Tulsa riot in 1921. Yeah, I know. Did I do it?
How is that relevant?
Because it's all part of a string. If you believe in this critical race theory, if you believe in intersectionality, critical race theory basically says that the United States has been racist since 1619 when the first slave was brought here, and that slavery is intertwined with our country's history and cannot be separated from our country's history, and white kids need to be shamed for that. So we all see what was done to black people, give them a bunch of money over 200 years, and then we go sit in shame and silence. I mean, it's
I don't believe that. I don't believe in that. I don't believe that the majority of black people believe in that. I just don't.
It's a concept.
I don't. I think that the majority of black people have been discriminated against and have experienced racism.
Oh.
I have zero doubt in my mind
None.
that that's happened.
I wouldn't say most of them. I'd say all of them.
Okay, I would go that far. All of them. Mm-hmm. But they're not the only people that are discriminated against and have been the victim of racism.
Absolutely, I think old
Irish Catholic. one of the biggest lies out there is that black people can't be racist, because they can, and there's a lot of them that are.
absolutely.
You know, so, you know, hey, we all have our faults, and people are going to be biased. It's just our nature. I
Right,
mean,
right.
we're animals,
Right.
you know. So I don't think I have a lot of faith
That-
in the
you
black
know.
community. I like the black community. I have a lot of faith in them, and I'm not going to fall to the bull crap that's going around, because I think that hurts them,
Yeah. Well,
and that's just how I feel about it. You know,
Al Gore used to say that evil lurks in the hearts of men. So it was up to people like him, wonderful upper class liberals. Evil lurks in the hearts of men. He used to say,
well, you know what, dude, maybe you need to
He's
find different
wrong.
friends and surround yourself with different people, because obviously you got the wrong idea.
yeah, really. And he got to be pretty rich himself. So, and he's invested heavily in green energy. So he's working behind the scenes to cash in, And that always happens. You just have to follow the money. Follow the
Hey,
money.
and I just saw that they're I think the GOP is pushing for an investigation into the there's a couple of mega $1 million contracts that went to 2 different contractors to build housing for these immigrant kids that Biden's bringing in, and they went to 2 contractors, no bids, and he has ties to both of them.
No bid contract.
No bid contracts, and it was mega millions. It's crazy.
Joe's from that era, that kind of Sinatra. And excuse this expression, but members of my father's generation, would occasionally say he's a booze and broads kind of guy, and that meant he drank a lot and flirted with every woman in the place. Maybe had a little money, been a little successful, so he's a booze and broads kind of way. Now that's a crude way to
I think the
describe.
dude's a gangster, straight up.
Well, and that's a crude way to refer to women, and I apologize for even saying it. It's not. It was my folks' generation or my dad's generation, not mine. But Joe Biden is a booze and broads guy. You can see it all over him. Same way, women went crazy for Bill Clinton. All I saw was a lime green leisure suit, in a disco.
Are you talking about Bill or Hillary? Because I can see
was
them both
actually
in a lime
talking-
green.
Maybe they were both in bars trying to pick up chicks. I don't know.
Well, I'm pretty sure Hillary was, actually.
I don't know about that. I don't, but I know Bill Clinton sure scored heavily.
Oh man,
And,
him and Jeff Epstein.
Jeff Epstein.
How funny it is that Bill Gates is getting tied into Epstein.
I don't know, but I've been trying to get hold of Melinda now that she's splitting up with that doofus. I think her and I would make a great couple. You know
Oh
what I mean?
boy, well
she's going to split about 60 billion, and I think
65
I would
billion.
need all of that.
Yeah, that'd be a good catch.
That would be a good catch, outstanding.
I think Kathy would understand that.
No, she wouldn't.
Yeah, I think she would.
No.
I should just want her check,
Yeah.
Yeah, buy happiness. Whoever tells you that you can't, you can. It's true, you can.
I don't know.
Sometimes it's not very expensive.
Melinda, she looks okay, but I suppose I'd have to see her naked before the final.
Oh
decision was
God, I can't anymore. Kid, don't take me there, Mike.
made.
I try
Kevin,
not. I
have
try
those
not to
wild-
get you. I try not to get you those FCC fines. I do, but you open the
There will
door
be
and
several petitions.
yeah,
You get kicked
for
off
sure.
Just from this conversation.
Yeah, well, they can fire me because I don't have a
Woo!
job.
Whoa! You hear what he said? I'm going to throw my wrist to my forehead and fall over. And that's the guys.
Yeah, for sure.
I